All right, so linear correlation on the calculator. You will notice if you are in your textbook, I don't know what page I'm on, I think it's 352. Here we go. That there are questions that ask you to use the calculator. So I just zoomed in, and when I did, I lost my page. But if you look at, there we go, this question, it clearly has a calculator marked, and you are not going to be asked to do a linear correlation question on paper one. You might be able to ask, it might be asked like, if this is the R value, what does it mean? Or you might be asked, here is the linear regression value and equation, do something with it. But in terms of finding it, you're always going to be using the calculator. So I'm just going to do this example right here. So I'm going to minimize this so that you can follow with the calculator. Hopefully we can see both. But the first thing we're going to do is we're going to take our calculator, we're going to insert in our document, we're going to insert our lists and spreadsheets. We always start out by putting that in there. And there's French, and then there's Spanish, are the two test scores, and we're trying to see if there's a correlation between them. So we're going to put the French ones in first column, and you can follow along as I do this. It might be helpful to you as you go, or you can reference this later. But the Spanish ones, then we're going to put in 87, 91, 85, 91, 75, 28, 92, 66, and 58. All right, now once we have them in there, I'm going to just maximize my calculator so you can see what we're doing. But we're going to go to menu, we're going to go to statistics, and we're going to go to stat calculations here, and we're going to ask it to do a linear regression. And it's going to say, what's the X list? It doesn't really matter, but we're going to say French, and then the Y list is Spanish. And this says save regression equation to F1. What that's doing is if we drew a graph of our data, this is saving it as a function so we can actually see it. Okay, we're going to hit OK. And here is our data. So what it does is it tells you the regression equation is in the form mx plus b. The slope is 1.00841. The b value, the y-intercept, is 20.6598. And then it gives you two values. It gives you an r squared value and an r value. The r squared value is just this value squared, but what it does is it negates the plus or minus. So you just, the r squared value will tell you, is the correlation strong or weak, but it won't tell you whether it's positive or negative. The r value is what we're after because it tells us whether it's positive or negative. Okay, and then it gives you the residual as well. And you can look at what that is in your textbook, but that's not much of our concern. It's not part of our what we need to know. But what we do need to know is our R value and our linear regression line. Now, if I ask this to then insert a data and statistics, it'll draw the graph for me. So if I put my French down here and I put my Spanish here, there's my scatter plot. And if I go to the menu, you can change this plot around to different plot types and plot properties. You can do a couple of things. You can connect the data points and whatever, just like we were doing before. Okay. Let me just back out of here. There's our graph. Now I set it copy to F1. If we go to our scratch pad, just so you can see what this looks like, I'm going to just put this down for a second, actually, so we can get the numbers back. But you can actually draw the equation. So our numbers are, our slope is 1.00841 and our b value is 20.6598. So if I just hit my little calculator, it's 1.00 x, and then it's plus 20 point whatever the number was. So I'm going to X out of that again. Can I go back? No. Okay, well, it's 20.5948, I think. So you just put that in there, and you can see right now you can't see anything, but if you go to the window and set the window settings a little bit higher, the Y minimum and maximum, the Y maximum needs to be a lot bigger. So we'll just put 50 in there, and then we can see it. So there's our graph. And it just sort of shows us this is what we're looking at. All right, so you can look at the graph here. I don't know if you go to regression, you actually can just to back out here and show you, you can go to analyze and ask it to do a regression and do this linear fit here, and there it is. All right, and it's actually on the graph. So you can see how it matches the data. So there's a couple data points that are way out, and there's a couple data points up here that are a little bit above, but generally there's our positive strong correlation, and it's strong because our R value is 0.863343. So you can actually get it to do the regression rate on the line, and you can see your line. And then all you're going to be asked to do, if you're asked to do anything else, is say, okay, this is a regression between Spanish scores and French scores. So if I said my Spanish score was 60, what's my French score? You would just plug in 60 into here and find out what the French score was by solving for X. If I told you I scored 99 on my French test, you could then tell me a prediction of what you would score on the Spanish test, or what I would score on the Spanish test, by just plugging it in. So the only other linear correlation kind of question you're going to be asked is to actually extrapolate or interpolate. So take a value of X and plug it in, or take a value of Y and plug it in. So I don't know if it does that here. So here is, you know, a question based on the survey: would Kelly's grade increase if the chat time decrease? So you're looking at the correlation. I guess it's not technically asking you to do anything with the X and Y values in any of these questions, but you can be asked to do that. So here we go. Here's a question where that asks you to do it. So it says, here's a table of distance traveled and amount of fuel. It actually drew the scatter plot for you, but it says sketch the line of best fit, and then a car traveled 350 kilometers. What's the line of best fit tell you the amount of fuel is that's left in the tank? So that's the only other thing you could be asked to do, but you can all plug into a linear equation. I don't doubt your ability to do that, and we will practice this more in class, but that's how you use the calculator to do a linear regression. And it's exciting. It should be, because it does everything for you, and that's wonderful. And you can just be happy in your ignorance of how to actually calculate this, because you don't need to know. If you want to know, it's all in your explained in your textbook. I'm not saying, you know, you should be ignorant, but understand what I mean. It's just a wonderful little thing about IB. They don't make you do it by hand. So we thank them and we move on. So that is how you use the calculator to do a linear regression.